Hello, hi.
Hi, hello. How are
I am
you?
doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. For anyone that is just now joining, I was letting them know I'm here with the lovely China Allan, Miss Queen of the World. I love saying that, Queen of the World.
It flows, it rolls off the tongue really
It
nicely.
does. And you're a mother, you're an entrepreneur,
Yes,
you're an author, you are an advocate for autism. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on.
yes,
All that you do. And so thank you so much for taking the time to join us
of
today.
course, of course. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself outside of the crown?
Sure, absolutely. So, my name is China Allan. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. So, we have beautiful weather 90% of the year. The other 10%, it's 120 degrees. But I love being from Arizona. I feel like I'm a sunshine girl. I'm a warm weather girly always. So, I love living here. I am a mom of three and I am an autism mom. So, I have two children that are on the autism spectrum, one more severe than the other. And so that is my platform. That's what I advocate the most strongly for and the most passionately for. But I have a lot of other things that I dabble in as well. But I am an autism mom. I am an author. I do have a book coming out this month, so I'm very, very excited about that. And I do own my own business. So I broke away from corporate America about a year ago, almost 2 years ago, actually. And I started my own consulting business and I work with financial advisors all over the United States. And it's been going great. So that's just a little about me.
Not much going on at all, China.
Oh, just light work, just a little bit of light work.
Just a little something here and there. Well,
Exactly.
I am excited to dive into all of that about you. So, my first question is always one that we love to ask because we want to know and, make sure, our title holders are getting all the information that they need.
Mhm.
And so, as you know, Beauty Queens Galore is a huge pageant resource.
Yes.
So, as a title holder, do you feel as though is there anything you want to see more from us or even the pageant community?
Yeah. So, one thing that I was not always super familiar with when I joined pageants, Queen of the World was actually the first beauty pageant that I had ever done. And we took it all the way to the international title. So I was very excited about that. But one thing that I would love to see more from a resource standpoint is more information for women like me. So I was a divorced woman going into pageantry. I have children. I'm over 30. And so that was something that I really struggled when I decided I wanted to get into pageants. I struggled with finding a place where I felt like I fit in because you see so often, the under 25s, the married, the misses, and I was really struggling to find resources in the Ms. category. And so I just really, I think there's such a huge demand in the Ms. category, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if that means more women are just not getting married or keep getting divorced. But, I felt truly a little lost when I started searching for the right Ms. pageant. And so that would be something that I would always love to see more information on, is more info for pageant women like myself, maybe divorced, already having had kids, and more options for us there, or at least more information around options there.
I agree with you 100% as a fellow Ms. here. Uh, I agree with you 100%. And speaking of that, what made you decide, you wanted to compete in the Queen of the World pageant?
Yeah, so I was going through a really unique time in my life. I was going through what I call one of my biggest transitionary periods of my life. I had actually just stepped away from corporate America. I was trying to really find my purpose again, my passions. I had gone through a major weight loss transformation, and I was really needing something to give me that sense of womanhood again. I had spent the last really gosh, 12 years being a mom, being a working woman. And I wanted something that was for me, something that was for me, but something that I still got to talk about the things that I'm passionate about. And, I wanted to do something that also would really fulfill me and fill my cup. And so I got on the Google machine one day and I found Queen of the World, and it has been just such an incredible experience from start to finish, from, being our Ms. Arizona, competing at the USA pageant, winning the USA title, and then going on to the international pageant and landing that international title as well. So, but it really all just started with feeling like I want to do something for me, something that's going to fill my cup. I spend 98% of my life filling up everybody else's cup around me. What's going to make me feel whole?
I love that. And speaking of, Miss Queen of the World and being a Miss, so what do women need to know in case somebody still wants to compete? So what is the age category for being a Miss in that division?
So I believe for Queen of the World, it's over 30. So, and unmarried. So, and the Ms. category can really carry up until you are the elite, which is 50. So for Queen of the World, we have a category for every woman, which I love that. We have our Miss division. So, you're under 25 unmarried. You have your Ms. division, which is going to be, over, over 30 unmarried. We have our Mrs. category. And then we also have our elite division, which honestly is my favorite division. I absolutely just gravitate towards our elite divisions just because they're full of wisdom. They're full of inspiration. They've done so many incredible things in the world. They're so successful. I really gravitate towards our elite division, and that's, 50 and up.
And I love that. I love that this pageant recognizes all women. I mean, you
Yes.
literally have covered every woman there is. So if you're out there, just know there is a pageant system for you. And
Yes.
and speaking of that, to those women that are going to be, aiming for your title, what do you think is or qualities that are ideal to be a title holder?
One of the things that I feel is so important for any title holder and also women coming in wanting to compete for the title is you have to be relatable. That is something that actually steered me away from pageantry for a long time. Was I felt like I couldn't necessarily relate to all the women that I was watching on TV. And so I think one of the most important things is to be real, to be authentic, to be relatable. It's okay to show up on social media not perfect all the time. Like, it's okay to show your true authentic self because it shows that sense of realness. It's what draws people to you. It's what, has people gravitate towards your energy, is that authenticity. And so that is always like my biggest piece of advice when I'm working with women going into a pageant week is it's okay to show up not perfect. It's okay to show up truly authentic and as you are. And I've always said, going into pageant week, I have sort of the underdog thing going for me, having never done pageants before. But it worked for me. That was authentic for me. And that was very true to who I was in that moment. And all of the experiences were very real and raw. And I was living through it with the judges, with our director, and it ended up really showing well for me. And so I always say, just like, be authentic, be as true to yourself as you can, and have so much fun with it because this is your journey and you deserve to have the best time with it.
And I can surely see that you're having such a great time. When I look on your Instagram page, you mentioned all these great qualities, but there's another quality about you that I really love is that you're approachable. Just even watching you as I'm drilling down, I was looking at all the things you do. I was like, oh, she's so cool. Like, I'm like, oh my God. It's like you're just so relatable in that way, like you spoke. And it's like just seeing everything you have going on. It's like seeing this story unfold, being your true, authentic self from, like you said, your glam photos to you in tears, just having a really bad day,
Mm-hmm.
to just drinking coffee, which is what you do, or out dressed up in an appearance. So I feel like you really do possess those qualities, which is so very important,
Thank
not to just being a
you.
title holder, but just being a person in general.
Well,
So.
I appreciate that. You know, I really want women and people in general to find my page and to feel like there's something for everybody there. You know, I'm a very real human being. I feel like very often people see the crown and the sash and it can be really intimidating. I've been told multiple times that you know, from afar, I almost seem unapproachable because of the sash and the crown. And then they see me and they see the way I interact. I'm really goofy. Honestly, I'm super, super goofy. I'm a boy mom, so like I have to be able to like be goofy and get dirty and like tumble around on the floor. And so I love when people can come to my page and just be like, oh, wow, a real human. Like I can really relate. But I also want women to know and understand that if I can do this, you can do this. And it has completely changed my life. And I tell people that all the time. Pageantry has changed my life in so many incredible ways, not only through the connections that I've made, and the platform that I've been able to advocate on. But I mean, truly, like the confidence boost to feel good, to know that I'm changing other women's lives and the way that they look and see themselves as a working mom or, you know, what have you. It just is so awesome. I love that people can come to my page and get that sense.
Yes, and by you being so new in it too, my question for you is you're very busy and you've done a lot in your community and throughout the US. So anybody listening, it could be a brand new title holder, or someone who has experience. What's the best way to go and get these opportunities that are awarded to you? Because as we know, even though you're a title holder, doesn't mean it's going to come to you.
Right.
So what's the best way or some tips you can give for these ladies to be able to really go out in their community and promote those titles?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I would say is connect, connect, connect. You know, you really have to put yourself out there. And to some, that's very hard. For me, I have been in sales my whole life. So it was not difficult for me to really put myself out there and connect with people and build those connections and do all that networking. The other thing too is you have to put together sort of a brand kit for yourself. And it can be something as just a very simple like Canva. These are my platforms. These are what I'm passionate about.
Uh-oh.
And then you just, ooh, do you have me?
I have you now.
Okay.
You said, okay, repeat that because I was like, oh, this is the good stuff.
Yes,
Repeat it again.
yes. So I created like just a one sheeter, like personal branding kit, right? It's just very, very simple. It has my bio. It has my platforms, the things that I advocate for. And there's no harm in just blasting that out through email, through social media, you know, to whoever you can and say, hey, look, this is who I am. This is what I do. Let me know if there's any synergy or anything that we can do together to help collaborate with one another. I can help you build your brand. You can help me, you know, advocate for my platforms. And I've gotten a lot of really awesome opportunities through New York Fashion Week, which is obviously more of a beauty world. But I've also had really incredible opportunities through the autism community for volunteer work, for speaking engagements. And so, you know, I just think that the more that you can really promote yourself and get comfortable talking about yourself is the best thing to do. And it can all start with just a very simple Canva one sheeter with your bio, a headshot, your platforms, and kind of your title and what you represent.
And that's not difficult. That's pretty easy. I mean, that covers those for who may not be so comfortable necessarily talking, but you can still be able to present yourself to other people. So I love that.
Right, absolutely. And you know, one thing that I will tell, and I actually coach women in business about this very often, it's okay to talk about ourselves. It is so okay. And I feel like as women, we tend to feel like we're being braggadocious or, you know, we're being arrogant, but it is 1000% to be proud of the things that we've accomplished and to talk very highly of ourselves. I don't consider it arrogant. In fact, I love nothing more than going and listening to a really awesome, like female speaker, telling her story, sharing her stories of adversity. And so to women who do struggle with that, I would say stand in the front of the mirror and talk to yourself about yourself. Like, talk to yourself about all of the things that you love about yourself, or the things that you've accomplished, or the things that you want to accomplish, and have a personal dialogue. And I think that that will get you very comfortable with talking about yourself. It's something that I really truly coach women in business on regularly, because we all struggle with a lot of that imposter syndrome. And I think it's such a great way to get out of that, is to be able to talk about ourselves.
I agree with you 100%. I always say the only ones that hold us back are ourselves.
1000%. 1000%.
I say that all the time. I was like, there's nothing wrong with being proud of who you are as a woman and being able to share that with other people. I say it all the time. So you're correct.
Yes, absolutely. And it's something I've had to get used to. I've always been really good at selling a product, but I never looked at myself as the product, right? So when I started in beauty pageantry, it was really, really cool to be able to like share my story and talk about it, and like be so proud openly of the things that I was accomplishing, and not just for myself, but for my community, for my platform. And so yeah, I love when women can feel comfortable really talking about themselves in a very positive light. And I think it's so important to do that.
I agree. It is very important. And since you've had your journey, I'm still in shock that you're so new. I mean, you've just one state and then the national, international, man, see, you don't have to be in it forever. But are there things like behind the scenes that people may not know that have been like huge challenges for you as a title holder?
Yeah, I think that, and as a title holder, as a woman, the comparison game, that is really, really hard. And it's really, when I won and kind of got immersed into this pageant community, all of a sudden I'm following all of these different pageant queens from all of the different systems. I'm following a bunch of different pageant pages, and everything is like, wow, that dress is really beautiful. Like, I wish my dress could have been that beautiful. Or wow, like, she's so talented. Like, I can't be that talented. Or wow, look at all of these amazing things she's doing with her reign. Like, why do I feel like I'm not doing enough in my reign? And I think it's really, really easy. And I have this conversation with our director all the time. It's really easy to feel like you're not doing enough in your reign, or you're not doing enough as a title holder, when social media makes it so easy to constantly compare. And, one of the things that I love so much about our director, Alice, is she always tells me, your reign is nobody's but yours. It is your story. It is yours to do as much with it or as little with it as you want. But either way, we should never be comparing. And I think that that has been one of the hardest struggles, is to watch, even my own sister queen. Sometimes I'm like, wow, she's killing it. I should be doing more. And then I look at what's on my plate and I'm like, wait, I can't handle anymore. Like, we're at max capacity. We can't do more. And so that is just one thing that I wasn't really prepared for. I've grown up on, unfortunately, through social media, and as a girl and as a woman, I've compared myself to other people on social media, but I didn't realize how much more intense it can be when you're truly starting to compare yourself with the most beautiful women in the world. It can be a totally different, it's a game changer. And so, that's one thing I would just share, is your story, your journey is yours, just as theirs is theirs. And we don't know all of the things that they're struggling with behind the scenes as well. And it's incredible how, when you really start to peel back the onion layers with other sister queens, or women from other pageants, they're struggling with the exact same things that I'm struggling with. They're struggling with the comparison. They're struggling with the, having the better dress, or having this, or being fully bathing suit ready. Am I tan enough? Are my teeth white enough? Like, we're all struggling with something.
Yes. At the end of the day, we're all in the same boat.
100%. When we're all fighting for the crown, and we're all fighting to have the most powerful reign, the most incredible reign. We're all really out there fighting to make a difference. And then I sit back and I go, but what a cool thing that is. Like, we're all fighting to make a difference. Like, we're not just out there fighting to be the prettiest, or we're all out there advocating to make change and to do incredible things within our communities. And I always say, and if that's the case, keep the competition going, right? Because we all should be trying to just do better, do more for our communities, do more for our platforms. And if that's the case, competition is positive.
It is, and that's why, you mentioned there's a pageant for everyone, every age. I noticed as a former Ms. competitor and title holder, I love how, specifically in our group, we've had so much going on in our lives, from divorces, and there's kids, and there's life is just lifing.
Oh,
And I
yes.
love how in that particular group we bond, and it's like, yeah, we're there to compete because everybody wants that one crown, that one title, but I see that the bond is just a lot different because, we're going through the same things in our life, and that's so important too.
Absolutely. I have made some of the best friends throughout the pageant world, and their friendships that we share. I always joke and say we kind of trauma bond over pageant week because it's literally such an intense week. It's not scary by any means, but oh my gosh, it's intense, and you need your partner there with you to like help you get through it. But I have just met some of the most incredible women who I share, similar stories with, women who I share, similar histories with, and similar future goals and journeys. And I just think it's really so cool what the pageant world can do, and all of the different doors it can open, and friendships that it can breed.
That is so true. And speaking of that, you're a very proud autism mom, and you speak of it. Like I said, you follow you see that. And, with your title, you've been able to really educate so many people about the importance of it. And tell me, along with having your title, about your advocacy work and some of the opportunities you've had to talk more about autism.
Yeah. So, that was one of the biggest things when I got into pageantry. I knew right away what my platform was going to be. I knew immediately what I wanted to advocate for. And I have just kept my eyes on that goal. Autism, although it is starting to definitely get a lot more traction, a lot more attention now, it's still a very taboo topic. It's still really hard to really talk about openly because my children look completely normal. They don't look like they have a disability. And so we get a lot of questions about why Ryan does things the way he does things, or, why he's 7 and has a pacifier, or, why is he not potty trained? All of these different things. And when I started to get those questions about him, I was like, wow, the world needs more education. Like, we need to be talking about this. We need to not only educate, educators within our school systems, educating the kids. One thing that I really struggle with my son, who is more severe on the spectrum, is he's in an isolated classroom, which, although that's really great for him and a lot of his triggers and stressors, it's not helping the other typical children in the school learn how to cope with children who are different, or how to be patient with kids who are different, because he's kept in a fully isolated classroom. And so I really love to come on and just share Ryan's story. It's controversial. I have a lot of people who have said, you shouldn't tell his story for him. Well, my son is nonverbal. So if I do not tell his story, who will tell it for him? And he has a right to have his story be told. And so one of the things that we've really been working on too, just when it comes to educating, is my partner is a first responder. And so a huge part of what has been a passion of mine has been to get involved with our first responder communities and really provide more education and more training, because the reality of it is these little people who are on the autism spectrum are going to become big people on the autism spectrum. And as they get older and as they start aging out of different services and resources, they could end up, on the street. They could end up with substance abuse problems. My biggest fear is what happens to him when I'm not here, right? And so one of the biggest things I want to work towards, and I'm continuing to work towards, is educating our first responders on how to respond to situations with someone who may look completely normal, but act erratically or have certain behaviors, and what key triggers that they can look for to know that, okay, this person is not on drugs, they maybe have a developmental disability. And so I think that that is just such an important topic for first responders to be educated on. And so that's really been like a huge push for me in my reign this year.
Right. I really do love that. And like you said, it's so important for people to be educated about it, because you hit on something that I think a lot of people don't understand, is that sometimes they say they can't see it. Like you said, this child looks no different than any other
Right.
child. Um, so I think, what do you think is the biggest misconception when it comes to autism that people really do not truly understand?
I think people think that it can be cured, or that kids can grow out of it. Now, certainly kids can excel through therapy and through different, educational tools. Kids can get better, or progress. I shouldn't say get better, but they can progress. But autism is not curable. You'll hear a lot of people say, oh, well, with stem cell research or with this or with that. And unfortunately, I wish, right? Like, I genuinely wish that there was a cure for autism, just as I wish there was a full blown cure for cancer. But there is not. And instead of trying to change these individuals to cure them, how do we just work around them? Like, how do we make things more adaptable to them instead of forcing them to adapt to everybody else? And so, that's just one of the biggest misconceptions, is that it can be cured. My son is 7, he's almost 7, he's still pretty nonverbal, and people are always like, oh, well, if you take the binky out of his mouth, he'll talk. Like, no, that's really not how this works. That's not, I wish that that was how it worked. If it did, I would take the binky away, we'd never touch it again. But that's not how this works. And so it's just little things like that. This is not a curable disease. It is something that kids and adults are going to live with forever. And the other misconception is it is a huge it's a huge scale. It's a huge range of being very, very high functioning to being very high needs or low functioning. And anytime you see kids acting a little uniquely or differently, never judge, because you just don't know. It is such a wide scale of autism, is so broad. And so you just never know. And so that's the other thing that I would say, is just never judge, because you never really know. There are a lot of people walking around the world today with autism undiagnosed, and they have quirks. They do things differently. They're a little unique. And so, I always just say, don't judge and be patient.
Be patient and be kind.
Yes, that's exactly it. Be
So
patient, be kind, and never judge.
absolutely. Well, there is something else that I saw of you, and I was like, man, this woman's weight loss journey. I mean, wow. I'm just
Thank
gonna say
you.
wow. Like,
Thank you.
it was very inspiring, because it's just like you said, it was just up and down, and you went through a lot through your transformation. So tell us a little bit about your weight loss journey.
Yeah. So, right after COVID, I really struggled with losing the weight after my youngest son. So obviously COVID hit, we were all stuck at home. I was working from home. Naturally, I fell into some pretty unhealthy habits. I wasn't going to the gym as much anymore. I wasn't really eating the best. I wasn't being as active as I probably should have been. And then on top of that, I had a baby who was, at the time, like 9, 10 months. And I was just struggling hormonally. I was really struggling to lose the weight. And so I took a huge, very controversial leap, and I had weight loss surgery. But I am still to this day, like, it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. I'm so happy that I chose to go down that route. I had weight loss surgery, and I was able to lose about 140 pounds, and it was absolutely life changing. During that time, I was starting to go through my divorce. I was a single mom to 3 boys, and I just was like, I need to do something to feel good about me. And so, yeah, I made the leap. I took the weight loss. I had the weight loss surgery, and I completely changed my habits and my lifestyle. So I started working out, every single day pretty much. I started really focusing on eating and making healthier lifestyle choices. And now I'm almost 4 years into my weight loss surgery and about 140 pounds down.
Wow, that's so amazing. And now, if you can look back, at that journey that you took, um, compared to who you were, compared to who you are now, what does that self-love look like then to now?
Oh, I mean, it's night and day. It's hard to say, especially as a woman who advocates for every body, right? Any kind of body. I'm a big body positivity person. I do believe that every body is beautiful. And so it is kind of hard. It's cringy to say, that back then I really struggled with self-love, but I struggled with self-love for a lot of different reasons. I struggled with self-love because I was loving my children more than I was loving myself. I struggled with self-love because I was going through a really rough divorce where I had not been shown love. So when you're not being shown love, it's even harder to love yourself. And then on top of that, I was in a really uncomfortable spot in my body. And so the person who I was then, although still awesome, my friends tell me all the time, I joke and say, well, I'm kind of grateful for having been overweight because it made me funny. Um, but my friends are like, you are just such a light though now, still funny, still uplifting. And I was then, but now the way that I radiate love for myself is very bold, and I'm very grateful. I still struggle with insecurities. Absolutely. I'm a woman. I'm human. We're all going to struggle with those insecurities. I still struggle with a sense of body dysmorphia because I did go through such a major change. But I would say the way that I love myself now is so much deeply and more intimately than I had ever been able to love myself prior. And that was just because I got so busy loving everyone else around me that I forgot to love myself.
And now you see that you can still love everyone else and still love yourself.
Yes, I
Yeah.
actually think it makes me a better mom. I think it makes me a better partner. I think it makes me a better, entrepreneur to have that level of self-love, because self-love also provides self-worth. When you know you love yourself and when you know that you're worthy of amazing things, it helps bring amazing things to you. And so, I say all the time, I although nobody deserves to go through a terrible divorce, I needed to go through this growth journey to be the best partner I am today for my spouse, my partner. I had to go through that so that I could really love myself enough to love him. You have to love yourself before you can love someone else. And so I am super grateful for the journey, and I'm grateful for having been overweight and lived an unhealthy lifestyle, because it makes me that much more grateful for the life I'm living today.
Yes, and without the journey you had, like you said, you wouldn't be where you are right
100%.
now.
100%. I needed to go through that to be grateful for everything I have today.
So, China, mental health is so very important. And as women, we are busy. We do a lot. And
Yes.
you do a lot. You have a lot going on in your life. So, what is something that you do to help balance everything you have going on in your life?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I don't talk about often just because I don't love it, but my boys go to their biological dad every weekend. And so I truly use my weekends as a way to reset, whatever that means for myself that weekend. So sometimes that means being hyper. I go shopping, clean the house. Sometimes it's being super productive. Sometimes it means vegging out on the couch and watching Love Island for hours on end. And so I do really, really take my weekend, my time, and I know not every woman is able to really take a weekend, but I always say take your hour, take your afternoon, take your lunch, whatever that means to you to really like take that time to reset is so important. I have struggled with mental health a good portion of my life. And I think that even today, when I am feeling myself go on a downhill slide, I'm like, oh, I need to take some time for me. Like, that's what this is meaning. I need to go to the gym. I need to go do something that fills my cup, that brings me joy. I need to listen to a podcast. I need to listen to some worship music. I need to go hang out with a friend. Like, I don't know what I need to do, but I need to do something for me because I'm feeling myself sliding. And so I just think it's so important to be able to recognize that and not let it get too far into the hole. Because I've had that happen too, where I'm like, okay, it can wait, it can wait, it can wait, it can wait. And then all of a sudden, I'm like a vegetable. I can't do anything. I'm feeling, depressed. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling stressed. And it's like, I knew better. I could feel it coming. I should have just taken the time when I needed it. And so that's really what I do is I just make sure I prioritize my me time. And when we're busy, we have to prioritize it because no one's going to prioritize us time but us. So our kids are never going to voluntarily give us the time. Our partners are never going to voluntarily give us the time. Our jobs are never going to voluntarily give us the time. I always tell people, I work for myself now, but if you have PTO, take it. That's what it's there for. You have to take that time. Burnout is not a badge of honor. I know a lot of people like to wear it like one. It's not. And I am a big advocate that burnout is not a badge of honor.
Well, you nailed that because I'm sitting here nodding my head like you're absolutely right. Burnout is not. And also, no is a sentence.
Yes. Yes.
Period.
It is completely okay to say no and to set those proper boundaries. I still struggle with that. I'm a yes woman. I love, love, love to say yes. I hate disappointing people. But especially in my reign, I have had to learn that not everything is best suited for me. And even though I want to say yes, I can't say yes. Not everything is for me. We had an awesome opportunity to go to our Queen of the World pageant in Sri Lanka. I was doing everything I could to try and swing it, and I just couldn't. I had to say no. It was just not conducive to my family at the time. I absolutely wanted to go. I was devastated to not go, but I couldn't. I just couldn't swing it. And it's okay to say no. Not everything is best suited for us.
No, sometimes you have to say no to make room for those yeses that you don't quite know are coming. So
100%. Yes, ma'am. That is absolutely right. And so, yeah, it's hard for me. I still struggle with it. I want to say yes to everybody always, but I've had to learn that we can't do that. We just cannot.
We're human. We definitely can't do that.
That is right. That's right.
I want to ask you this question, and I want you to just take a look at your journey, and this can be in your journey through life or your journey in pageantry. What is something that made you say, I was meant for this?
I really, this is so profound, truly, but I think for so many years, I struggled with a lot of very difficult adversity, truly. Like I had my first son at 18 years old. I was a very young single mom. And I truly believe, truly, truly, truly believe that every single misstep along the way has led me to this moment. And I think it all kind of came full circle, especially with my book getting ready to come out. I've had a lot of moments in life where I've sat there and I'm a pretty strong woman of God. And I have had so many moments where I've said, why is God letting this happen? Why? Like, why is this happening? If there is a God, this is not a good God. Like, he would never allow this for me. Like, what is happening? And I would say that finally in this year, through my reign, through my entrepreneurship and my business really excelling, I have said, okay, I get it now. I get it now. This is my story to now go out and share with the world, with other women who have struggled with similar things that I have struggled with, to the autism moms, to the women who have lost a job, to the women who have struggled financially, to the women who have gone through awful divorces, struggled with abuse, struggled with abandonment. And that was really when I said, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like right now, this moment, advocating for women of all walks of life, it all makes now. And so I actually had a moment recently with God where I was like, okay, super funny. Thanks for letting me struggle with this for the last 25 years for it to make sense at 35 years old. Thank you so much. It's been a really awesome 20 years. So glad that we went through that. But if we could be done now, that'd be awesome. And it's truly like I fully, firmly believe that I had to go through all of that for this to make sense today, because I don't think that I would have been mature enough, ready enough, prepared enough, filled with the passion and purpose to go out and be bold and to be loud and to advocate for the things that I'm advocating for, had I not gone through all of those different points of adversity. And so it has really, I've had a huge like aha year, not a moment, but an aha year where I was like, okay, I get it. And this is where I'm supposed to be. And I tell people all the time, I tell our director all the time for Queen of the World, like, this is just my beginning. Y'all are I'm just getting started. This is Queen of the World was the confidence push that I needed to really put myself out there and keep advocating. And now it's just the beginning. I'm not 100% sure what's next for me once I give up my title in May. But I know big things are coming.
They're coming. I mean, like I said, that, you look up there sometimes, it's like, God, what? There you go again. Everything's in
Yep.
its timing.
Yes.
It's already
Yes.
there. It's going to happen for
Yes.
you.
Yes, I firmly believe that. And I truly believe that I am not done. It is not finished. And I have a lot of really, really big things that I want to continue to share with the world and do with my platform. And not only in the autism community, but, with women in business. And we're just getting started.
Yes, party's just getting
Yes.
started, as they like to say. Well,
Yes.
before I let you go, there's a game that we have to play
Okay.
here at Beauty Queens Galore. It's called This or That.
Okay.
Okay. Now, with me, I will let you have one where it can be both, because sometimes it can be tough.
Okay.
So I'll let you have one where you can have both. Okay. You
All right.
ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Sneakers or stilettos?
Oh, sneakers.
Yeah. Gotta have the sneakers.
Yep.
Ooh, crown or sash?
Crown.
Crown is
I'm a
pretty
crown girl. I love my crown.
beautiful. Ooh, phone call or text?
I'm a phone call girl. I love to be on the phone. I do. I'm a phone call girl. I'm old school. Phone call.
Yeah, and I can understand better when I hear it on the phone, because text could be anything.
It can be
Um,
misconstrued. I get real emotional through text. If I read something and I read it wrong, I'll like cry. Nope, I've got to have a phone call.
so books or podcast?
Ooh, I'm a podcast girl. I do like
Okay.
podcasts.
Dress or jumpsuit?
Dress.
Yeah.
Dress.
Even though I love that lace
Oh,
jumpsuit.
oh yes.
God,
That was one of my favorites actually. I did love that. But I love to show off my legs, so I do love a good dress.
I'm with you there. Oh, Netflix or Hulu?
Oh gosh, that's so hard because I have like favorite shows on both. I'm gonna go with Hulu though.
Okay, I like Hulu. Oh, are you gold or silver accessories?
I am silver.
Yeah, I like silver too.
Mm,
Silver myself.
yeah, I'm actually wearing gold today. It's funny that I said that, but I do typically gravitate towards silver.
That's right. But we still have your gold pieces. You still gotta have.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Short-term goals or long-term vision?
Ooh, that
Ooh.
one's hard.
Ooh.
Long-term vision.
Yes.
Long-term
Okay.
vision.
Okay, this is the perfect one for you. First pageant with a coach or without?
Without.
Okay.
Yep. I did it without. And I had our director obviously to help coach me a little bit here and there, but I did it without. I was just not ready to invest that much. Which sounds terrible, but because for your first pageant, you probably should. But I don't know. I was like, I'm just happy to be here. I was the girl that was like, I'm just happy to be here. It is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. And I'm just grateful to be here. And so I did without. And, it worked well for me. But I grew up on stage doing theater. And so I felt very comfortable up there. So that helped. But I would say without.
There you go. And my last one for you is grace and poise or confidence and charisma.
Confidence and charisma. Yeah, 100%. I am not the most graceful. I can honestly say when I took the stage at Queen of the World, literally through my head, I was like, just don't fall, just don't fall, just don't fall. But if you do, smile, twirl it off, charisma, confidence if you do fall. But no, I am a charisma confidence girly. I am not always the most poised. I'm really not. I hate to admit that as a beauty queen, but it is what it is. I can only bring what I can bring to the table.
That's okay. I think we all have our Sandra Bullock moments where we might trip a little bit. We get up and keep going though.
Exactly. 100%.
Well, you know what? I can't thank you enough so much for joining us.
Thank
But
you.
before you go, I want you to tell everyone how they can find you. Tell them when that book's coming out, how they can purchase the book. We'd love
Yes.
to know more about that.
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me on my biggest social media channel is going to be Instagram. So China.Ms. Queen of the World. My book called Fiercely Feminine, which is all about owning your extremely authentic feminine edge in a man's world of business, will be coming out by the end of the month. It will be all over my social media once it's officially out and published. You'll be able to find it on Amazon as well as in bookstores. So we'll be able to have a hard copy as well as an ebook. And I'm going to be doing a launch party, probably a virtual launch party, as well as an in-person launch party for anybody in Arizona. And I am super, super excited.
Well, China, thank you so very much for joining us and just sharing your journey with us. It's truly inspiring. I think everybody can walk away with, I call them little golden nuggets because you do write a lot of golden nuggets today. So I think we've all learned something from you and wish
Oh,
you all the
good.
best. I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you so, so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm so glad I got to leave a couple of really awesome golden nuggets for anybody tuning in, and I so appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful
Thank
evening.
you. Same to you. Take care.
Thank you.